At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Atlanta Braves. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Prism. Now your team can collaborate at a whole new level with video walls from Prism. Learn how at prism.com. By Bob's Discount Furniture, home of the world-famous Bobopedic memory foam mattress. By your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers on the web at mbusa.com. By Geico, over 75 years of savings and service. And by Optimum, presenting Mets games in crystal clear HD. Yeah, there's only one New York baseball team left in town. After the New York extravaganza of the weekend, 7 train only tonight. Just try to pay attention and don't split your attention. Standings in the National League East. A week ago, the Mets led by 9.5. Now at 6. Their magic number stands at 8 with 2 weeks to go. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets play the first of 3 against the Atlanta Braves. When we got here on Friday, the Mets were facing the New York Yankees for 3. They won the first. They lost the last 2. And, Keith, when the series began, you talked about how it was a good proving ground for the Mets playing a competitive team, a team that was chasing something important in their division. What were your thoughts coming out of the series?
Well, coming out, it worked out beautifully. You had a rubber match on Sunday night, national TV, and unfortunately, it was marred by what happened yesterday, the events of yesterday. The Mets wind up getting blown out. But you know something? You got to put that aside. This team has always, remember, from the beginning of spring training, 6 long months ago, the goal is the division flag, get to the playoffs. This is a team that hasn't been there. They got to keep their eye on the ball right here. They're playing in the 6 games in a division that they've just destroyed, and also 4 in Cincinnati. So they really got a chance. If they keep winning, Gary, got a 6-game lead. The other team, the Nationals, can't catch them.
Nationals will be playing at home against Baltimore tonight. John Neese takes the mound for the Mets tonight, and it's been an odd last couple of months for John.
Well, it really has. He struggled mightily for so long. After the middle of the summer probably was the best pitching that he ever did in a Met uniform. His last start, though, against his Braves, now back-to-back, was probably his best start in a while, even though it wasn't perfect.
And it has been an historic year for Shelby Miller, not in a good way.
Well, he's not Anthony Young, but he is winless in his last 22 starts, 0-14 in that time, when he was probably one of the best pitchers in the National League in April and May.
We'll have much more on last night's doings and the whole Matt Harvey extravaganza as we proceed along tonight. But the Mets have some winning to do, trying to reduce their magic number from 8. Mets and Braves, all the action coming your way on SNY. Brought to you by DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the New York Mets. By State Farm, tonight's State Farm agent of the game is John Garfinkel of Brooklyn. Contact John at johngarfinkel.com. And by River Spring Health Family of Care Solutions, Live Forward. You can place a deposit on your 2016 full or partial ticket plan today and guarantee yourself access to Mets 2015 postseason tickets. Purchase tickets online at Mets.com/deposits. Here's tonight's T-Mobile Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag SNY Data Strong Fan, and you could see yourself in an upcoming broadcast, just like this cutie. That's just adorable. John Neese getting ready for his start. His first pitch against the Braves is coming right up. This one will come on 7 days of rest, as the Mets are getting extra rest for not just Matt Harvey, but everybody on the staff coming down the stretch of the season. Here's the Braves starting lineup tonight. Nick Markakis has a stiff neck. He's out of the lineup. Christian Bethancourt has a sprained thumb. He's out of the lineup. And that's the unit that Freddie Gonzalez, who has the lowest scoring team in the National League, will send out against East tonight.
We see Jonathan's Jeep numbers. You know, he had a stretch late August to early September where he gave up 5 or more runs in 4 straight games started. Turned around a little bit against the Braves in his last start. 6 innings pitched, only a couple of runs.
The Camos are on tonight. Okay, they're ready to go do battle. And the Metsy Lexus defense. Conforto in left. Cespedes will, of course, go to center. Granderson's been in there all the time. Must be a right-hand pitcher. Kelly Johnson hasn't started in a while. He's at second base. And Darno behind the plate.
You know, I was thinking about the camo uniforms, Keith. They play on grass. You would think they'd go with the jungle camo if they really wanted to hide.
Really, yes, this is more desert fashion.
Of course, this works better on the dirt portions of the field, so maybe the outfielders wear the jungle and the infielders wear the desert. Michael Bourne leads things off. He's been struggling since coming to the Braves. He takes a fastball for a strike from Neese, and we're underway. Bourne came over in a deal with Nick Swisher in early August, hitting 168 since joining Atlanta. And when you consider that Bourne was a target of the Mets a couple of off seasons ago, it's another one of those best deals never made.
Well, that
slap to Flores. Hop comes up for him, and he throws out Bourne for the first out of the night.
Routine grounder. That 4-game sweep that the Mets had of the Braves down in Atlanta, Bourne was not hitting. He hit 8th the entire time, all 4 games.
He laid off tonight with Marquez out of the lineup. Here's Daniel Castro with the only home run of his major or minor league season against the Mets in Atlanta. 22-year-old from Mexico who was impressive in that series against the Mets, hitting .281. And he takes a strike. Neese's last start came in the last game of that series in Atlanta. That was that miracle comeback for the Mets when Daniel Murphy hit the 3-run homer with 2 out in the 9th to tie, and then the Mets won in extra innings. Yanked foul by Castro, and it's 0-2. It wasn't a great start for Neese. He gave up 8 hits in 6 innings. But considering where he had been going into that start, it was a step in the right direction.
Well, I think one thing he changed, he didn't throw a lot of curveballs in Atlanta, right?
Slow ground ball. Johnson fields. Quickly 2 out.
I mean, I didn't do the game, but I saw a good portion of John's pitching in that game, and I was astounded that he had really went away from the curveball, something he'd been using a lot, went more to the back to the cutter and changeup. Well, he'd been struggling. Sometimes you just got to change it up a little bit.
Here's Freddie Freeman with 2 out and nobody on. And the first pitch curveball in for a strike. Freeman hitting .280 on the year, trying to surge late in the season in what's been an injury-plagued year for him.
He likes hitting in Citi Field, though. Big numbers here.
Another ground ball. Flashing over is Flores. Quick toss, and he gets Freeman. 3 hitters, 3 ground ball outs for John Neese to start his night. Mets come to bat in the bottom of the first with no score. Night off for David Wright, so he's out of the lineup. Daniel Murphy moves over to third base. Mets have all their left-handed bats in there. Most of them sat last night against CC Sabathia. Mets have been held to just 2 runs in the last 2 games, and they'll try their hand against the luckless Shelby Miller.
Oh, these are the Toyota numbers for Shelby Miller. The one thing in his defense, out of those 22 starts that he hasn't won, They've scored 2 runs or less in 17 of those 22 games, but his last 3 of his last 4 starts have not been good.
Last time out, got knocked out in the 4th inning by Toronto. Gave up 5 runs and 7 hits in 3 2/3. So that one's not on his teammates. Curtis Granderson leads off. Curtis 1 for his last 11 as he steps in, but having a tremendous year. .364 on base percentage. And Miller's first pitch a little bit high for ball 1.
Miller lost the first game in that 4-game series to the Mets down in Atlanta. Had the 1 bad inning, went 6 innings, gave up 3 runs, had a big 3-run 4th. Big double by Plawecki, the opposite gap.
Daniel Murphy on deck, then Yoenis Cespedes in the opening inning.
It's interesting, Miller in April and May throwing about 95, 96. It has come down a little bit here in the long season in September.
Anderson lifts one foul, and that'll go out of play. Miller came over from the Cardinals in the trade that sent Jason Hayward to St. Louis. But the throw Hayward made last night to save the Cardinals, which helped them and hurt them at the same time. Right? They won the game over the Cubs, but might have lost Yadier Molina for a while.
Did you hear Tim McCarver's call of Hayward's throw? He said that's the best thing Hayward's done for the Cardinals all year.
He's been tough on him.
Well, the StatCast had the throw at 95 miles an hour from right field to home plate. You see the Nats and Orioles being delayed by rain at the start tonight. Gio Gonzalez against Ubaldo Jimenez.
Do they do exit velocity on throws out of the hand?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, throwing velocity.
Like gun.
Right. Like the same as they would for
got
a pitcher.
They got it all figured out.
They're working on it.
I got a visual on a good arm, you know?
Inside, and Granderson draws a leadoff walk. His 87th walk of the year. There's Hayward's year.
I don't know how he hits 290 with that funkadelic swing. But he does.
He's going to be a free agent at the end of the year.
That's right.
It'll be interesting to see what the market will be for Jason Hayward. Gold Glove caliber right fielder.
Ron, you mentioned last night's game that Murph came on the other side of second base in that 5th inning on a ground ball.
Yeah, not really the other side, but he came up the middle. It would have been an easier play for Tejada. He made it barehanded, but couldn't make the throw.
Hits one toward the hole, and Murphy's got a base hit. Granderson will move to second, and so the Mets get the table set. A walk and a base hit for Murphy. First and second, nobody out.
Well, no better antidote right here. The Mets have not been hitting of late, and just go be aggressive, get it going, get a team like the Braves down early. Murph never has much of a stride, likes the ball down.
Yeah, that was interesting. Murphy's got great numbers on first pitches. That was a changeup, but thrown too hard by Miller.
Well, here is Cespedes, who cracked an 0 for 19 skid with a double his last time up last night.
Well, it wasn't going to go on forever. He was raging hot. Got the canary yellow on tonight, I see. We'll see how many hits it has in it.
I am told that the toy parakeet that was in his locker for a few days has now been scuttled.
You know why?
That's what happened.
0 for 19. Bird's got to go.
Rally parakeet no more. I'm just glad that the real bird left.
Yes.
Otherwise, he might have been in jeopardy. Or as we use the word here, peril.
Yeah.
A little flare into shallow right. That may fall, and it does for a base hit. And that'll load the bases. So a little duck snort, or parakeet snort, if you will.
There you go.
A tweet.
A tweet.
And maybe the things are going the Mets' way here. So now Shelby Miller's bad luck continues.
I mean, he couldn't have placed that any better than that.
And Curtis is kind of stuck here. He's doing everything right. You don't want to run yourself out of an inning. No. There you go.
So the base is loaded, nobody out, and Lucas Duda will get a crack at it. Lucas was left in the lineup last night against Sabathia, went 0 for 3 in a walk. And he takes the breaking ball high and barely knocked down by Pierzynski. He has to walk that ball out to Miller. Looked like he was crossed up.
I don't know if he crossed him up other than it was a breaking ball that didn't break. You're expecting it to break, but it just backed up.
Oh, cutter that didn't cut. Wow.
He's like trying to catch that with a frying pan.
Like he was catching a knuckleball.
It was like me yesterday afternoon trying to catch the ball.
Granderson at third, Murphy at second, Cespedes at first. Duda 6 for 34 in his 11 games since coming off the disabled list. And the home run Friday night against the Yankees. And Miller finds the inside corner with a fastball, 1-1. Shelby Miller, 24 years old, out of Brownwood, Texas.
Well, nothing would be better for this Mets ball club right now than a big, not a home run, just a base hit. Keep it running down the line. Have a big first inning would be wonderful for this club.
Well, consider this. The Mets held without a run Saturday, 2 runs last night. It's the first time the Mets have scored 2 runs or fewer in back-to-back games since before they started acquiring all this talent. Remember, the Johnson-Uribe trade was July 25th. The 2 games before that, the 23rd and 24th of July, that's the last time the Mets scored 2 or fewer in back-to-back games. 2-2 now to Duda. In September, after a terrific beginning, the last 5 games, all of a sudden the Mets offense has gone backwards. Lost 4 of the last 5.
Well, that first 13 games put them in the position they're in right now, and it wasn't going to go on forever.
Duda with a chance to get the Mets off to a fast start. And he fouls back the fastball.
And you remember the bullpen here for the Braves is very leaky. So it's the time to take advantage of the second division clubs. Roger, very animated.
Boy, what a year it's been for him, right?
Very different. The third from the bottom in staff ERA in the National League, the Braves. Used to being in the top 3, not the bottom 3. 2-2 coming to Duda, and he popped it up. Infield fly rule will be invoked. Batter is out, and Simmons grabs it. That's the first out.
And the Coors Light Braves defense. It's kind of a new outfield there in the corners there. Swisher and Bourne. On the infield, you've got the old platinum shortstop out there, Mr. Simmons, just Wilson Pickett, and the veteran American leaguer A.J. Pierzynski behind the plate.
Now the struggling Travis d'Arnaud, who's 0 for his last 13 after going through such a hot stretch.
Well, Travis needs, like everybody else, when you slump, you pull a little bit too much. You need to start trying to go up the middle, over the second baseman's head, and for Travis for being a right-hand hitter.
Remember last night the Mets had back-to-back doubles to start the game, loaded the bases, but managed just the 1 first-inning run. Well, they have a big first-inning opportunity tonight, trying not to let it go by the board.
No, you cannot let it. You got Shelby Miller on the ropes here. Don't let him do the rope-a-dope with you.
Walking 2 singles, loading him up against Miller. And that goes to the backstop, but the runners will hold. Wow. Took the hard carom after it eluded Pierzynski. And Granderson wisely stayed at third.
It's another breaking ball that is not breaking. Watch this. It's got the spin on it, but it's just going the other way. Overthrowing that breaking ball is Miller. And the backboard comes into play again. Right off the shoulder of the umpire, Fielding Colbreth.
Well, that won't bode well for Miller if he keeps throwing helicopters right there. Soon he's going to make one over the middle of the plate.
Well, he is a old school pitcher. He's a drop and drive kind of guy. And if you drop and drive and don't get on top of that ball, that's what happens. You throw those helicopters. There's the umpires.
Colbreth, the home plate umpire and crew chief. Big tough guy, took that hit, no problem. Well, now Miller behind on d'Arnaud, 2-0. Kelly Johnson on deck. And Travis takes a strike. 2-1 to d'Arnaud. And it's dribbled up the third base line. It kicks foul. The ball stays fair. The Mets get a run. But it fell off the grass. Foul. 2-2.
Slider here that he got out in front of, which is what d'Arnaud's been doing.
Look at Brzezinski waving at foul. And Miller jumping on it.
And everybody can see him wave because he has those neon fingernails painted.
Well, here we are back down to the final 2 weeks of this long season, folks.
Let's hope it gets a whole lot longer after that.
Yeah.
20th pitch of the inning coming up for Shelby Miller. And d'Arnaud grounds one to third, might be two. Garcia on to Castro, drops it, and the Mets will get a run out of it. And now Murphy, for some reason, must have thought the inning was over and ran out of the baseline and got tagged out. I don't know what Murph was thinking.
He never went on to third base. He ended up watching the double play, thinking it's going to be a double play instead of just going straight to third base. Watch. He gets caught watching the play and get under the throw and then just watch the play.
Just a complete brain cramp on Murphy's part. The Mets do get a run and lead 1-0 after one. Seen one like the one Daniel Murphy just pulled off.
Just stick around.
Mets with a 1-0 lead as we start the second. Adonis Garcia, who started that what turned out to be 5-4-6 double play, takes a strike from these.
So no RBI for d'Arnaud.
No, because technically that is a reverse force double play, which, like a regular double play, leads to no RBI, and the Mets managed to get a run, but could have had more had it not been for. What was he thinking? I mean, did he think he couldn't have thought it was the third out when they made the play at second? So what could he possibly have been thinking?
I abstain.
I wonder what he's thinking. 0-2 to Garcia, and a slow ground ball. Johnson in front of it and throws out Garcia. So 4 batters for John Dees, 4 ground ball outs.
Well, you like to see that, and it's because he's keeping the ball down. When he went through that tough stretch, every curveball that he hung was hit out of the ballpark, and most of his pitches were up.
Here's A.J. Brzezinski. Well, the interesting part about the way the Mets are aligned tonight is normally when Nice is on the mound, Terry Collins plays Ruben Tejada at short.
But that's twice in, I think, the last, not the week, twice in the last 3 starts that Flores has started at shortstop.
Usually they like to put the best infield defense behind Nice because he's the Mets' most pronounced ground ball pitcher. Pierzynski having an unexpectedly good year. At age 38, he was supposed to be the backup to Christian Bethancourt, but Bethancourt has not had a good year. Pierzynski's played a ton, and he's hitting .292. He's got almost 400 at bats this year. I don't think that was in the game plan.
Rick Cerrone kind of year.
He's got the curveball working tonight, 2-2.
For you folks out there, I think I told the story before, but Rick Cerrone signed with us in 1984. Good breaking ball. And John Gibbons was going to come out of camp as the #1 catcher. Gibbons got hurt on the last day of spring training. And on the flight north, Rick Cerrone said to me, I didn't sign with this team to play every day.
Spongy.
Spongy, one of the best.
Another ground ball. Johnson playing into the outfield against the slow-footed Pierzynski. 5 up and 5 down for Nice on ground ball outs. Lucas Duda could set a record tonight. 5 putouts already. Nobody's ever had 27.
No, what's the high?
It's got to be in the 20s.
20, yeah, 23, 22.
Here's Nick Swisher. Swisher came over in that deal from Cleveland with Michael Bourne. 36 games with the Braves, hitting .228. Both Swisher and Bourne have another year left on their contracts, which made the deal that the Braves pulled off with the Indians when they sent Chris Johnson that much more puzzling.
To me, you never want to be caught in between, Gary. And I could be wrong, but you never want to. You either want to go with the young guys and get young and get youthful, or go with a veteran team. But to have some veteran guys combined with the young guys with big contracts, boys, sometimes tough to take.
Well, the Braves are trying to get to a place where they can be competitive in 2 years when they move into their new ballpark. Next year will probably still be a rebuilding year for them.
Come on, Nick, get in the box.
By the way, the record is 22 putouts for a first baseman in a 9-inning game. Ernie Banks was the last to do it.
Wow.
1-2 coming. Taken high.
That's all those Cubs right-hand hard sinker balls when they had the grass and Wrigley Field was like 5 inches long.
It's like U.S. Open golf rough.
Ernie was the last in the National League. Full count to Swisher.
Well, it's interesting. Swisher on the first pitch argued with umpire Colbert that the pitch was down, and then catches this pitch and he gets the call. Sometimes arguing works.
Well, I missed it. Maybe the umpire saying I'll give you one back, but you know what? Can't do that.
Nothing but a massive ground balls for John Nice. 6 up and 6 down. That's 6 putouts for Duda.
Oh.
1-0 Mets.
Bring us a winner.
The year between the Mets and the Braves. Mets just swept a 4-game series from Atlanta at Turner Field. And the former Brave Kelly Johnson leads off in the home second.
You can see Simmons has been a Met killer this year.
How about Bartolo? 4-0.
Bartolo's been lights out against the NL East division.
They'll get a start against the Braves on Wednesday night, the final game of this series. Logan Verretko is tomorrow night as they push Jacob DeGrom back a few days. DeGrom's next start will come in the series in Cincinnati over the weekend.
Dan Wortham was saying that DeGrom kept asking him, Tuesday? Tuesday? Am I pitching Tuesday? Said, no, you can be pushed back. You know why? What would you rather pitch, here or in Cincinnati?
I don't think anybody wants to pitch in Cincinnati.
No question.
2-2 to Johnson. Kelly Johnson's had a terrific month of September. He's hitting .423 this month, and yet this is his first start in 9 days. It's been difficult on a daily basis for Terry to figure out who's in and who's out.
Well, I think it's a couple of things. One, they're so deep than they were in June and July, and second, there's been more left-handed starters that they've faced, which has kept them on the bench.
3-2 from Miller, and Kelly fouls it back.
Well, since the return of David Wright, and with Murph, one of your best hitters, it makes it a little more difficult for Terry to move in Uribe and Johnson.
Also, since Duda came back, because Murph was playing some first base when Duda was out.
Granted, Johnson gives you better defense than Murph and better base running too.
Wright getting the night off tonight. That was part of the plan.
He had a day off before the Yankee series, played all 3 against the Yankees, and having tonight off. It seems like that's going to be how it goes.
Mets only have one more off day this season. That'll come next Monday between Cincinnati and Philadelphia. And Johnson yanks one foul. Nice play on the carom by the ball boy.
Oh. Gotta put a little air under that, son.
This will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat to Johnson. Kelly fouls back another one.
Boy, he's having some good swings against Miller.
He's got 3 hits and 6 career at-bats against Shelby Miller. Michael Conforto on deck, and then Wilmer Flores. Johnson keeps on ticking. Oh, turn your head, Keith.
Sticky.
Work your eyes.
Sticky.
I thought I was supposed to be the germaphobe in here.
I don't think it's a germ thing with Keith. I think it's more of an ick factor.
It's never was a cotton candy guy. Never.
This will be pitch number 11 from Miller Johnson. And Kelly takes strike 3 call. So Miller wins that battle, his first strikeout of the night.
Well, that's a good pitch by Miller. Came back over the inside corner of the plate, gets the benefit of the doubt from Colbreth. Fielding Colbreth has a funny strike 3 call, doesn't he, when he punches you out?
Well, here's Michael Conforto, and it's an odd juxtaposition of events for Michael. Over the weekend, he passed the 130 at-bat plateau, which means he will not be a rookie next year. And tonight, he was presented with the award as the Mets Minor League Player of the Year.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Very nice.
Now, normally, if you win the Minor League Player of the Year award, you should expect to be a rookie next year. But Michael's been here long enough and played enough that won't be the case, and I don't think he cares too much.
There's a huge need, and he's happy to be here.
Shelby Miller still hanging that breaking ball, Ronnie.
He's behind Conforto 2-0. And he falls behind 3-0. By the way, Robert Gesellman was named the Mets organization pitcher of the year. Conforto the player of the year. All the award winners were here tonight from the various Mets minor league franchises, including a couple of former first-round picks, Dominic Smith and Gavin Cecchini.
It's got to be pretty cool for those youngsters, right? Come to Citi Field and get an award.
Absolutely.
3-1 to Conforto with Wilmer Flores hitting 8th on deck. And Michael slams one deep left field. Back goes Swisher looking up, and it's out of here! Michael Conforto with an opposite field home run, his 8th of the year, and the Mets lead 2-0. We've got the minor league player of the year award out of the way. Time for to work on some bigger honors.
Well, we've seen enough of him, Gary, to know that he doesn't have to pull to hit home runs. He's got tremendous power to the opposite. No, very good power to the opposite field.
In batting practice, behind Cespedes, the most impressive guy hitting the ball in the ballpark is Michael Conforto.
4 of his 8 major league home runs now have come to left field.
You going to pitch me away?
Beautiful. Ooh. Right up at the plate.
Flores bloops one into shallow center, and that'll fall for a base hit. That home run means $2,000 for an NYC community partner, courtesy of Citi. So now John Neese, 9 hits, 3 sacrifices this year, with Flores at first and 1 out. Garcia coming well in at third base, and John pokes at it and goes foul.
Shouldn't really grab that baseball when you bunt it, even if it's foul. Just let it go. It's like when you're a runner on third and the ball's hit foul. You never touch it.
You never know what might happen.
No, it could hit a piece of mud in the batter's box and bounce fair.
Got a bunt to first base here. First base is occupied.
Ball to strike to John. Curtis Granderson on deck. There goes Flores, hit and run play. Neese swings through it, and Flores is out at second base. Well, Terry Collins pulling one out of his bag of tricks, asking John Neese to play hit and run. Flores, who has not attempted a stolen base all year, gets thrown out.
Well, I don't know if I agree with this. You're in a stretch run here. You want to get the runner in scoring position. I don't care how good a hitting pitcher you are, what kind of favorable count you have. You got Granderson up in the on-deck circle with a chance to drive in a run.
Also, John has a pretty good eye, or the best eye I've seen of a pitcher. That would have been a 2-1 count.
Terry's not afraid to gamble, that's for sure. Roll the dice.
Well, you've seen his team struggle to score runs the last few days.
Absolutely.
Now, I think if you have someone on first that has a little bit of speed, I think you take that chance more so.
3-2 to John, and he takes it high, so he does draw the walk, something he specializes in. He is a high on base percentage pitcher. Fits right with the organizational philosophy.
There you go.
Second walk given up by Miller. Granderson drew the first and scored a run in the first inning.
You know, it's a strange thing when you go over the numbers of Mr. Miller, and 22 starts without a win, 0-14. ERA is pretty good when you consider those 22 starts, 3.5 or so ERA. And you start to get a little self-doubt as a pitcher. I can only equate it to, I went through a long period of time in '87 where I had a lot of no decisions in a row. And a little bit of doubt starts to creep into your mind. You got to do a little too much as a pitcher. I got to make sure I strike out this guy. Don't let him put in play. Got to throw a shutout or you're not going to get a win. And you start thinking like that, goes around the whole team.
It's the fourth longest streak of starts without a win in Major League history. Longest since Matt Keogh in 1979. Now, a lot of people around baseball will tell you that pitcher wins mean a lot less than they ever did. But what about for the pitcher?
Well, for the pitcher, it means exactly the same as it always has, and that is every time you go out there, you're trying for a W. And when you think about the start that this young man got off to, I mean, he had a Cy Young April and May.
Made the All-Star team.
Yeah.
Miller's all over the place. He's looking for trouble here. 3-1, 3-1 to Granderson.
And at this time of the year, you start to look towards the end, and that's the opposite of what you should do. Got to stay present in the moment.
3-1 to Curtis, and he walked him again. So back-to-back 2-out walks issued by Miller after he got a break on the blown hit and run play. And Roger McDowell will pay him a visit.
And I'm sure he's paid him a lot of visits this year. You know, you cannot let that feeling of, all right, I got traded. It's my first year over here. The team is not good. I'm having an awful season. Let's just let it end. How you always have to feel is, I got 3 more starts. Let me get 3 more wins, finish on a strong note, and somehow take that back into spring training. You have to do that. It's part of being a professional.
You know, his 22 starts without a win it's a perfect storm, right?
Yeah.
I mean, 12 of the 22 games he gave up 2 earned runs or fewer. So he pitched well enough to win on all those occasions. His team didn't support him, but he's also had some leads lately that he's let get away. And then in the last start, he got blown out by the Blue Jays. So it's not just bad luck. It's part of it is on him as well. So now Murphy with a base hit his first time up. They made a base running blunder that cost the Mets a chance to score further in the opening inning. Bats here with 2 out and 2 on. And he takes a fastball for a strike. Nationals and Orioles scheduled at Nationals Park tonight, still being delayed by rain at the start. Nats have won 7 of their last 8. Just trying to win every day and hope for the best.
Well, they've got to keep that pace up. They have any chance of having meaningful games the last weekend of the season.
Well, we were talking before the game. Ronnie made a good point. It's a 6-game lead, but really all the Nats have to do is get it to 3 in the next 10 days.
But you can't think in terms of that. You're the Mets. I got a 6-game lead. They win, they can't catch us.
No, but the Nats have to.
I understand that, but I don't care about the Nats. It's just the Mets right now. What's their philosophy?
That's so parochial of them. Murphy fouls one back.
But if you're the Nats, you're in a position where you got to win every night, and you hope you win. You won't do it tonight because of the rain delay, probably. But you try to put that number up early and on the board, a win early. But if you're the Mets, all you have to do is take care of tonight.
Nats sitting in the clubhouse watching this game, you think?
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Hi, guys. Here's the 0-2 to Murphy. And he takes one down the left field line, slicing. Foul. Neese at second, Granderson at first with 2 out. A run home here in the second on Michael Conforto's home run.
If you were told before the year that Bryce Harper was going to be the MVP of the National League, what would your second thought be? Nationals ran away with it, right?
100 wins.
Yeah.
That's what everybody thought. That's what we thought.
A cat and mouse game here between Murph and Miller.
They can't get on the same page. Brzezinski and Miller shaking them off. So he wants to throw a changeup. I'm guessing.
1-2 to Murph. 54 pitches through an inning and 2/3 for Shelby Miller. That's not makes him a strong candidate for going deep into this game.
This is not the same Shelby Miller we saw earlier in the season.
2 on, 2 out. And that misses badly. You just can't throw that cutter anywhere near the strike zone.
No.
He's getting underneath the ball, not on top of it. That's why it's just sailing up and away every time.
It's so pronounced, though, Ronnie.
Yeah.
He's missing so badly high. Wouldn't you really be focused to tuck that shoulder?
Well, at this point in his career, he's got a couple of years in. You think you could make the adjustment on the fly. He's not been able to tonight.
7th pitch of the at-bat coming to Murphy. And he slams that in the air to left, coming over his swisher. And that retires the side. But the Mets tack on to their lead. Michael Conforto awarded the honor as the Mets minor league player of the year, but doing plenty of damage in the big leagues. His 8th major league home run gives the Mets a 2-0 lead after 2 at Citi Field. Elbs' report tonight is brought to you by StubHub. Steve?
Gary, you were talking about the Sterling Awards today. We're here with one of the Sterling Award winners, Gavin Cecchini, first-round pick in 2012 of the Mets. Rookie of the Year in the Eastern League as well. It's been a great season for you, Gavin. Last year in Single A, 247 batting average. You upped it to 317 this year in Double A. What was the key to making that jump and that adjustment?
Yeah, I think it's just staying with the process and not really worrying about like the result. And I just shrunk my zone and really keyed in on getting a good pitch to hit and a pitch that I can drive and put my best swing on it.
Maben grounds out one away here for the Braves, and we were talking a little bit before you came out here. For you guys, this has to be such a cool experience. Only the second or third time you said you've been at Citi Field, but what is it like to be honored, and what kind of motivation does it give you to sit here and watch this team play and think about how close it could be?
Yeah, it's unbelievable, man. Obviously, the playoff push that they're going through right now, it's the crowd is electrifying, and the atmosphere is unbelievable, and we haven't made the playoffs since '06 in the big league, so it's great, man. And a lot of the players that are starting, have came up throughout the organization, and it's great to be here and to be recognized as a Sterling Award winner. And I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. So.
Quick 2 outs for the Mets as Simmons grounds out. And you were talking about a lot of the players coming up through the organization. Wasn't that long ago, just a couple months, that you were playing with Michael Conforto, who just hit that home run. What is that like to see this guy having this success, a guy that you just recently were teammates with?
Right. First off, I want to say that he's a great guy, great teammate, and I'm really happy for the success that he's had, and now he's at the big league level and helping the team win ball games. But also, it makes us realize, how close we are. Obviously, we played on the same team together in Double A, and I'm just a call away along with other guys. So when he made that call, it's just like or when he got that call, it's like, wow, it's like that could be me here real soon.
What is the adjustment? What is the thing that you will be working on this offseason so that day does come relatively quickly for you?
I think it's all aspects of the game. For me, I want to work on, defensively, hitting, base running, the mental side, because for me, whenever someone tells you that, you don't need to get better in any part of the game, they're lying to you. You can always get better at something. So I'm always trying to get better and be the best player that I can be so I can help my team win.
Shelby Miller on base after that 4-pitch walk. When you talk about your game and improving certain aspects, how would you evaluate your defensive game this year, and what will you look to improve specifically in that area? You had such a great offensive jump. What do you need to do to take that next step defensively?
Just really working every day before the game during BP, because obviously the coach can hit ground balls to you all you want, but most of the time during the game the balls hit harder. You got to move quicker. So taking live BP off the bat. Reading bad angles and getting great jumps on the ball and come and get the ball, because I had a problem this year with laying back on balls, and it was causing me to rush my throw, and my throws were a little off. But at the end of the year, the last month, I was named Defensive Player of the Month for the organization, and I made the adjustment. So going on to next year and into the Fall League, I'm going to be working on that a lot, and I'll be good.
Gavin, congrats on the award. Enjoy the night. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Gary, back to you.
The pride of Lake Charles, Louisiana, Gavin Cicchini, whose brother Garen has already played in the big leagues with Boston.
I can hear a little bit of that accent.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it.
It's where Ron Guidry was from, right?
Right. You know what's interesting? I always love when the young guys get the awards here, because you forget sometimes that how young they are. It's a really cool thing. They're the same age as my youngest son, sometimes younger.
Michael Bourne at the plate after the Braves got their first base runner of the night, a 2-out walk to the pitcher Miller. It also reminds you just how much happens away from here in this organization, all building toward helping the big league club win games. It's very easy to think of it as out of sight, out of mind. Bourne has the Braves' first hit, chasing Miller to second. So a walk and a single after 2 out.
Well, it's definitely a big machine that's rolling along that you hope over time, little cutter that Bourne pulls in the hole, over time just keeps producing every year 1 or 2 players that are going to keep you in the mix.
So the Braves have the tying runs aboard with 2-outers. Daniel Castro grounded out his first time up. Nice has gotten 8 outs tonight, all on ground balls. Now, the way we did some further research, Duda already has 8 putouts tonight.
Yes.
Mets club record for a 9-inning game is 19. Held, of course, by Ed Kranepool.
More important, who was the pitcher in that game?
Cal Kuntz.
Cal Kuntz.
Cal Kuntz threw a complete game 5 hitter against the Cardinals, and Kranepool had 19 putouts. 1-1 to Castro. Now, John Milner had 27 putouts, but that was in the 25-inning game against the Cardinals, so that doesn't count.
Doesn't count. Well, John might think.
It counts for extra inning games. My question is, was Keith one of those putouts? What did you do in that game?
Harry
Strike
Parker.
out or did you ground?
Oh, Dave Schneck robbed me of the home run in the 9th inning off Harry Parker.
Do we have video of that?
I hit a row.
Was it over the fence?
Is that true?
Yes, the little Dave Schneck. He was a little guy. A bullet right by the gate. Remember, could have been a hero.
And he had to wait 16 more innings. Strikeout on the pitch in the dirt, or did he get a piece of it? Apparently he did get a piece.
He might have got a piece of that pitch on the bounce.
Who was the pitcher that got the loss? Was it Hank Webb?
Yes, Hank Webb made the errant throw, allowing Baker McBride to score.
All the way from first base.
Contact with him? Did he actually make contact?
No, he said it right away.
Yeah, he said foul ball right away.
Another ground ball. Another chance for Duda at first. He comes off the bag, misses the tag, and the bases are loaded. So it would look like a routine ground ball. Flores throws it wide, and the bases are loaded with 2 out.
Well,
Wilmer here gets loose. I don't like the one hand. And when he goes sidearm, the ball runs into the line. I'm not so sure Lucas had to come off the bag. It's not the best footwork. Can't make mistakes like this down the stretch run.
Well, the other night we saw Flores misjudge the speed of Didi Gregorius that cost a base runner. Here an errant throw that costs a base runner and prolongs the inning and brings Freddie Freeman to the plate with the bases loaded. And he lines one to center field, but Cespedes comes on the knuckleball and he stays with it to get the out. That ball took a sharp right turn on Cespedes at the last moment, but he was able to stay with it. And that gets Neese through the third with a 2-0 lead. But look how this ball moves.
This is very dangerous right here. Look at this knuckleball. Phil Niekro could have thrown that.
R.A. Dickey.
It's a 200-foot knuckleball.
Gary, you're always so contemporary.
Met-centric. So Cespedes will lead off for the Mets in the home third after John Neese had a narrow escape in the top of the inning. Cespedes hit a pop fly single that fell in the Mets opening inning. That led to a run. Cespedes last night doubled in his last at bat, his 79th extra base hit of the season, one off the major league lead. That's presented by DraftKings. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com. Enter promo code NYM for free entry. We've mentioned this before. It will not be a Mets club record, obviously, since he did a large piece of his work in Detroit this year. But the Mets club record for extra base hits in a season is 80, which Cespedes will reach with his next one. Takes one the other way for a base hit. Can he get two out of this? He's going to try and make it easily as Bourne has trouble with it against the sidewall. And there is his 80th extra base hit of the year, his 40th double.
Well, we know that Cespedes has tremendous power to the opposite field, and that when he struggles, which we haven't seen much of, he pulls too much like everybody else. So it's very nice to see him using right field. Doesn't matter how that was a soft liner. That's how you get it back. You're not going to get it back getting out in front. He cuts corners so well. The best base runner in the Mets. By far.
So the Mets have their fifth hit against Shelby Miller. And now Lucas Duda, who batted with the bases loaded and nobody out in the first inning, and popped up. Howard Johnson in 1989 had 80 extra base hits. Carlos Beltran in 2006 had 80 extra base hits. And now Cespedes has 80.
Wow.
Again, it won't go on the books because it's not a Met record, but it is an incredible feat nonetheless. Well, that was one of Hojo's 30-30 years, 1989.
Every other year.
Yeah, 87, 89, 91.
Haji really worked hard on his switch hitter. He could be pitched to from the right side of the plate. Didn't like the breaking ball, but he learned to be a better breaking ball hitter and a better right-hand hitter. Put a lot of time in it.
Drilled foul. But he could hit a fastball. I remember what Bob Murphy used to say about it.
No.
Trying to sneak a fastball by Howard Johnson's like trying to sneak the sunrise past a rooster.
That's great.
Murph, that's Jim Gott learned that the hard way in Pittsburgh at one time. When
How about Todd Morrell? Duda pops one up.
it's not going to advance him.
Warren comes all the way in. And that's the first down. Cespedes will stay put. So now Travis d'Arnaud, whose ground ball brought in the first run of this game in strange fashion. And so the base is loaded. Braves got a force play at second. The second baseman Castro dropped the ball trying to make the transfer to turn two. Daniel Murphy, who had been the runner at second base, stopped halfway between second and third and started wandering off and got tagged out. But Granderson scored before the tag was made, and so the run counted. Travis hits this one out to center, easy for Cameron Maybin. And again, Cespedes will stay put. 2 out. The most popular way to follow the Mets' push to the postseason is with MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, highlights, replay reviews, scores, StatCast, live radio broadcasts, and more. Download MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet now. Who needs an app?
Nice.
And you got the scorebook.
Nice.
And the peanuts. Just try and keep the shells off the scorebook. Or maybe not everybody's as obsessed about the scorecard as I am.
I don't touch it. I don't go anywhere near it. I feel bad that I have to sit near it on the open.
Don't even think about going rifling through his stuff. Oh. Folks, Gary keeps his stuff before a game, keeps his scorecard. He's got around 4 or 5 games underneath it. And he keeps it very neat when he goes out, leaves the booth. He keeps it very neat, precise with the books. And he knows if someone comes and fiddles with it, and he gets very upset.
You mean like when somebody comes and takes a picture of the notes?
Oh, yes. Scorecard, glasses, computer,
so you know what I
eraser, all of it.
So you know what I do, folks? He leaves, I kind of muss his stuff up on purpose.
You think I don't know that? I know it's you. Who else would do that? Ryan Kelly's up in the Braves bullpen. Johnson lifts one foul, and it's 2-2.
Kelly, who gave up that 3-run home run to Murphy in that game you were talking about that he started?
Yeah, they took Peter Moylan out.
Yeah, with 2 outs.
Double by Lagares that just eluded Maybin. Walk. And then Murphy hit the 3-run home run. Kelly Johnson had an 11-pitch at bat his first time up before going down on strikes. Cespedes is second and 2 out. And Kelly pops this one up. Could be playable for Garcia. And he gets there to grab it. And so Miller able to work around the leadoff double. After 3, 2-0 New York. 1985, Dwight Gooden hit his only home run of the season against the Pirates. Against whom?
Wow, that's a great question.
Doug Drabeck.
That's a good guess. Adonis Garcia takes outside from John Neese as we start the
I
fourth.
think that was a little before Drabeck's time.
I think 85. Bob Walk was on that team. The left-hander.
Who's the right-hander with glasses? He's a bullpen coach for one of the teams.
Oh, Lee Tunnell.
Lee Tunnell is my guess.
Okay. Also left-hander Zane Smith. Was he around then?
No, that's before Zane.
It is Zane. John Smiley. Is he there yet? Yeah.
No, I don't think he was. Smiley had good stuff.
Jose De Leon.
That could
go.
That's ball four. So Neese's second 4-pitch walk in the last 2 innings. And the Braves on a leadoff base runner.
Not good.
That'll bring up A.J. Pierzynski.
Cecilio Guante.
Oh, Feo.
Those were the Pirate teams before they got good in the late 90s, late 80s and early 90s. Remember in 86 you guys beat them 17 out of 18.
Yeah, right before they were going through that transition because their young players weren't ready. They had guys like Steve Kemp playing in the outfield.
Kemp wasn't happy there.
Jim Morrison was their third baseman.
Thompson.
Jason Thompson.
First base.
Yeah.
He wasn't happy there. They both came over from Detroit, Kemp and Thompson. Tony Pena behind the plate, I believe.
Pierzynski takes one the other way for a base hit. And Neese, who got out of a bases loaded situation in the third, finds trouble quickly in the fourth. That's the Braves' second hit.
Goes right with the pitch. Flat slider.
Boy, he's had a good year.
He's a nice little player, nice journeyman player.
By the way, the game in Washington has been rained out. The Nats and the Orioles. I would have to presume they'll play a doubleheader tomorrow, although I know the Nats have an off day Thursday.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Orioles do. So Nick Swisher will bat first and second, nobody out.
You certainly don't want doubleheaders down the stretch, Gary. They're not. It's hard to take two. Most doubleheaders end up in a split.
Wait for the announcement. See what they decide to do. And they have said it's going to be Thursday, 4:05 start. So both teams had the off day, and so rather than playing a doubleheader, they'll play a Thursday afternoon.
Wise choice by the Nationals.
I bet you if they hadn't had that off day, they might have waited longer before calling it.
Yes.
0-2 to Swisher. Cameron Maben on deck. And Swisher takes just inside. 1-2.
That was a good pitch by John. Outstanding. Got him off that plate. Key for any pitcher, can you double up in there? Because most hitters think once you come in once, you're going to go back away.
Back to Neese. Chance for two. Hits Johnson. And on to first for the 1-4-3 double play. Just what the doctor ordered for John Neese.
A little change up, Ron. Something off speed after the pitch inside. Off the end of the bat.
Very nice by John. Gets rid of it quickly. Johnson standing right there on a little bit of the shift, so it made it an easy play.
So Garcia moves to third with two down. And Cameron Maben the batter. Maben grounded out his first time up. Mets didn't see much of Maben in the series in Atlanta a week and a half ago. He had a corneal abrasion that cost him 10 games. Played right at the end of that series. Remember, he almost caught that double by Lagares in the ninth inning in that Sunday game.
It's in his glove, right?
That's for help.
No swing. 1-1 to Maben.
First base umpire Manny Gonzalez. Oh,
maybe he did.
Today's game, that's usually an automatic, isn't it?
Joe Girardi got thrown out on less than that last night. I mean, that was not even close to being a swing.
No, it wasn't. And John Hirschbeck, the third base umpire, told him something that Joe didn't like hearing. I wouldn't like hearing it either. And Joe gave him a piece of his mind.
And then stayed around for an extra half inning or so after he was ejected, which I thought was odd. Who doesn't know that they've been thrown out of a game?
Well, I think what happened on that one is that if you come out to argue balls and strikes or a check swing, you are automatically gone.
Right.
So he didn't get the heave-ho.
No, there was no definitive motion from Hirschbeck. Even fouls it off. One-two coming, and the breaking ball just missed. 2-2. Andrelton Simmons hitting 8th in the order would be next. 7th pitch of the at bat coming from Neese, and Maben hits one slowly to short. Flores off to the side, makes the play, side retired. Yet another ground ball out for John Neese, keeps the Braves off the board in the 4th. Still 2-0 New York. For behind-the-scenes access, player reactions, and a complete game breakdown with exclusive on-field interviews and Todd Bowles' post-game comments on Jets Post-Game Live, presented by Toyota, coming up tonight after the Jets-Colts game, only on SNY. Michael Conforto homered the other way his first time up tonight.
Give me the skinny on the Jets and Colts tonight, guy. What are we looking for?
2-0. You know, like the opposite of the Giants?
Yeah. Oh, ouch.
Oh, yeah. I understand there was a record-setting performance by the Giants the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Double-digit leads in the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
Conforto lifts one to left. Swisher should have plenty of room. And puts it away for the first out.
Well, one thing the Jets got to watch out for tonight is that they're going to watch those 0-1 teams in week 2. So 0-2, you're digging yourself a bit of a hole. So that Indianapolis needs to win.
You should put out a book.
I believe he's reading that book.
Well, 0-1, especially with Mr. Luck, the quarterback.
No luck.
They got to get an offensive line for him, or he's going to be deadlock.
Wilmer Flores, a bloop single his first time up. Ball and a strike to Wilmer.
Cutter getting a little better for Miller here in this inning.
And Wilmer lifts this one to shallow center. And Maven comes in. Right arm flapping. 2 out. Now John Deese will bat. John walked his first time up.
Talking about left-handers, did you see who pitched for the A's last night? Made it into the box score? Barry Zito?
Yes, I heard about that.
Yeah.
And is it true that they're going to match him up with Tim Hudson next week?
I've heard that
when
too.
The A's play the Giants?
Boy, would that be great.
It really would be. Does Mulder get to watch it?
Maybe he can do the game.
There you go. Hudson pitched a great game last night himself against Arizona, 6 scoreless. Slap to shortstop. Simmons makes the play on Neese. Miller has his first 1-2-3 inning. And we are through 4 at Citi Field with the Mets leading the Braves 2-0.
I'm right, I was disturbed. But that's what it is. And so I did it. For the good of Matt, hopefully, and for the good of the organization in the future. That there's not an injury, that he is okay, and that he's going to come back. If it keeps it from winning the pennant, I'm not going to be very happy about it. But it is what it is. And you have to adapt to it. As opposed to leaving him in and creating a tremendous mess that you can't ever get out of, that's the last game he pitches for the season, it's not worth that, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. And everybody else is allowed their opinions. It doesn't mean I'm right, and it doesn't mean they're right. It's just the way it is. And so all the talk and everything else isn't going to change the fact that's what we had to do. We decided to do it. We stayed on course. And you know what? Nobody on either side's happy about it. Matt's not happy about it. We're not happy about it. But that's what it is. So we move on, and we play today.
Clearly agitated and frustrated Terry Collins before the game today, addressing Matt Harvey being pulled after 5 scoreless innings, having allowed just 1 hit with a 1-0 lead, a game that blew up on the Mets once he left. And he's certainly right about the last part of it, if nothing else, and that is that nobody's happy about this, and that includes the fans who, you know, are up in arms about this. And Here's where we are. Matt threw 5 innings last night. He'll probably throw fewer innings than that in his last 2 starts of the regular season. The Mets certainly hope that those games don't get away from them as well. And then he'll be available to pitch in the postseason for how many innings, nobody seems to know.
Well, it's an impossible, not difficult. It's an impossible situation because you have a manager now. You had an agent that said that this pitcher might be in peril. Well, the manager's in peril because what happens if Matt Harvey goes out for that 6th inning and hurts himself? The problem that I have is that, and other than everyone else who talks about it, I did it. So everyone has an opinion about it. Most people have not been on the mound. So to me, the most important thing is that there really is, unless you're a Hall of Fame pitcher, and maybe Matt will be that someday, but that takes, you'll know after 10 years of playing, not after 2 years of playing. At some point, you have a 6-year window of excellence. 5, 6, 7. If you're a Hall of Famer, maybe 10 to 15. But most people have a 6-year period of excellence. And what you're doing now is you're taking these youngsters. They're not prepared to go deep into seasons. They're coming up to the major leagues, and they're pitching less in that window of opportunity. That's what the game has become. And that's a shame because, when you see the pitchers today with the rest, and I understand that everyone is trying to take care of their arm. When I played 30 years ago, no one cared about your arm. You threw you out there every 5 days, and that was part of the deal. But there's no science. I know that people have an opinion, and they think they know what it's about, but they don't have real science that what they're doing is going to help or hurt.
I think what Terry said is that you have to adapt. That was him saying, I have to adapt. He's old school. When you could read between the lines, he's getting his marching orders. People running the game now have a whole different take. The game has changed.
He strikes out 4 in a 1-2-3 inning for John, and we'll continue this conversation when we come back halfway through. The Mets with a 2-0 lead. Your 5th inning recap brought to you by Fidelis Care. John East, 5 scoreless innings. Michael Conforto a home run. Mets with a 2-0 lead as we start the bottom of the 5th. Curtis Granderson's been up twice and walked both times. And he takes inside. We were in the middle of a discussion about the Matt Harvey situation, Keith.
Well, the game has changed. I think that Terry was very plain about it. And Terry's also said it was not in that soundbite, was that he's old school. He's an old baseball guy. And They're starting to get outnumbered by the new guys that are coming in and taking over. And there's a lot of good things with sabermetrics. There's a lot of things I like. But there's a lot of things that you make value judgments. You just can't make value judgments on statistics. Look at Milwaukee right now. They just hired a new general manager that worked with Jeff Lunau in Houston. That's a Harvard grad. And their Ivy Leaguer coming in and getting in a position to rebuild a franchise. I mean, you heard David Wright's comments after the game, and you can read between the lines with David's comments. You've got, everyday players that are not going to be particularly happy about it, but you know what? Like I said in the open, you've got to put this all aside from a team standpoint. Matt's in a very, very, very tough spot. Has been put in a very tough spot. This became public, and he can't win. Okay, so as a team now, an everyday player, put aside anything personal. You started out in mid-February. This is a team that has not been in the playoffs in ages, and they have a lot of guys that are here that have suffered and played meaningless games for 2.5 months for quite some time. Now you're playing meaningful games. The National League flag is right there for the taking. Put everything aside. Go out and do your job. Play hard and bring the flag home.
Granderson out on strikes for the first out. Well, there are a couple of things at work here. Matt has taken a lot of heat, but Matt is a ball player who is putting his trust in his agent, who has made certain comments about him being in peril, and his view is that his agent has his back. He's not a scientist. His agent, for whatever his purpose is using junk science, and Matt's buying it. And so he's put in an absolute no-win situation. That's the first piece.
Agreed.
Here's the second piece. And I read something today that troubled me from a fan's perspective more than anything that I've read in a long time. As Murphy drives one to deep center field, headed back toward the wall, but may have been able to go back and get it. It was written by Dirk Hayhurst, a former major league pitcher who's become a terrific writer and is a great observer of the baseball scene. And what Dirk did is he said that he had a premise that he wanted to check, and he asked a lot of his teammates. The hypothetical was, if you had a choice between having a 3-year career where you could be a top of the charts player, a superstar player, but then you'd get hurt and your career would be over, or 10 mediocre years where you'd never make your mark on the game, which would you choose? And he said every single one of the major leaguers that he asked said they prefer the 10-year career. Now, I've got to tell you, from a fan's perspective, that's about as troubling a thing as I have ever heard, that a player who the fan who pays his money assumes is trying to be great every day and helping his team win championships would prefer to have a 10-year mediocre career, presumably because he's only concerned about making money. If that's really true, that creates such a great disconnect between players and fans, more than anything that I've ever heard. Now, I don't know if that's at play here in the Matt Harvey situation, but I think that it certainly raises very troubling questions about what people are paying for and what they're getting in return for their fan dollar.
How old's this cat who wrote this article?
Hayhurst?
Yeah.
He's in his 30s.
It's generational. If you asked any player from my generation, Keith's generation, not one of them would say that. Not one of them. So it's just the opposite. Would never say, I will take 10 mediocre years over 3 great years. Never would say that.
But that's got to be all about the money, right?
Well, I think that what I'm trying to say is that it's shifted. It definitely has shifted. And there's so much money to be made out there that guys know if they can stay healthy, they're going to get the big payday. And that's what they're looking for. They're looking for the lotto day. And that means that at some point you're making decisions that, do I want to play less than 100%? Because I want to make sure when I'm out there, I'm doing my job, because it's better for me to go 12-6 in 25 starts than to pitch 35 starts and put myself in peril. That, to me, is trouble.
3-2 to Cespedes. He drives one to deep left field. Headed back over the head of Swisher and off the wall. And Cespedes digging for second, in with his second double of the night. That was a bullet. Cespedes 3 for 3. Looks like he's out of his slump.
Hanging slider down where he loves it. And watch him turn the Chris Ball just off, put a dent in the wall, by the way. Got there very quick. He turns the corners so well, Cespedes can fly. And you can see it right here. I love the way he turns corners on the bases. There's no big bend, wide turn.
So now they're going to walk Duda intentionally with the right-hand hitters are no on deck.
And Gary, I think the saddest thing I think for fans is they probably wanted to hear this. And like you said, Matt's in an impossible situation. They would have loved to have heard Matt on the day everything came out. What was it, September 6th or 13th, whatever it was, 6th? Go into Terry Collins' office and said, I'm your Madison Bumgarner. I don't care what's going on right now. I'm ready to go. I'm healthy. Let's get it done. Those days are gone, folks. They're completely gone. So you might as well just pack it in a suitcase and put it underneath the bed.
So from a Met fan's perspective, the best thing that they can hope for is that the Mets can clinch this division with a minimal appearance of Harvey and a couple of starts coming down the stretch, and then maybe the reins will come off a little bit in the postseason.
I don't even know if the reins will come off. I would think that they'd probably go in a position where he'd make one start in the first series, if it's in the division series, instead of pitching 1 and 5. That's the kind of thing that will probably happen.
But at least in that start, one would hope they'll allow him to go as far as he's able.
Unfettered.
Rather than with some kind of innings limit. But first the Mets have got to clinch this division, and that is what they're trying to do now. Miller about to throw his 100th pitch. So they got the bullpen cranking. Andrew McKirahan, the left-hander, is up with Kelly Johnson on deck. Darno is 0 for 2 tonight, now 0 for his last 15. And he takes the letter high strike, 1-1. Cespedes at second, Duda at first with 2 down. And Darno late on the fastball, 1-2.
Big swing here by Darno, a little uppercut underneath it, Keith.
Darno's just been pulling a little bit. He needs to just be more compact, hit line drives. Whenever you're in a slump, you do not overswing, hit line drives.
And he struck him out with a high fastball. Miller fans Darno, and the Mets waste an opportunity in the 5th. Still 2-0 after 5. In the first, a Michael Conforto home run in the second. And they take a 2-0 lead into the sixth behind John Neese, who looks better than he's looked in any start in a month and a half. 5 scoreless innings under his belt. Daniel Castro takes the curveball down for ball 1. Castro is grounded out and reached on an error. John got 11 of his first 12 outs tonight on ground balls before a 2-strikeout fly ball, 1-2 3/5. He gets that cutter in for a strike, and it's 2-1. Freddie Freeman on deck. Adonis Garcia behind him, and Castro bangs one off his leg, and it's 2-2.
John Neese into the 6th inning, a very important game for the Mets, and he thus far has delivered a much needed good pitching performance, but he's not through with his work.
Nationals rained out tonight. Mets with a chance to drop their magic number to 7. Castro hits one toward the hole. Duda with the diving stop. Neese gets over. They get him. Nice play, Lucas Duda, 1 man down.
Oh, nice play indeed by little Luke. Beautiful backhand. Nicely done.
Good hustle by John Neese, too. Falls through to that third base side. He hustled over there just to beat Castro.
John's a good athlete.
Watch him take off here. Head down, go.
Here's Freddie Freeman. Takes one in the dirt. Freeman is grounded to short, and then the third, he came up with the bases loaded in 2, added a line drive to center field that knuckled, and Cespedes was able to stay with it and grab it, and that's the closest the Braves have come to scoring tonight.
Darno went out to talk to Neese. That ball came up and caught the home plate umpire Culbreth, so just giving him a little bit of a break.
Freeman grounds one. Johnson playing in the outfield. Right place to be. 2 out.
Ground ball extravaganza by Neese.
11 putouts for Lucas Duda and 1 assist.
I always felt that John should have been this kind of pitcher, Ronnie.
Yeah.
He's got a nice hard sinker. He should always serve up a lot of ground balls.
Here's Adonis Garcia, who's grounded out and walked.
Giving up a little more home runs this year than he usually does. 20 on the season. That's been a little bit of a problem. Always gives up more hits than innings pitched.
More, I've never seen so many players pull the ball extremely foul.
What do you think that is?
I think it's just being taught your hands inside the ball. I think Philden Colbreth got a back. Something happened to him. Did he get hit by a backswing?
No, backswing hit Darno's, knocked his glove off.
Okay.
Colbreth was giving Darno a couple seconds, so
I think it's your hands.
Quid pro quo.
Gary, keep your hands inside the ball. All that talk.
It's sharply. Flores can't get to it. And Garcia has a 2-out hit. Hit number 3 for the Braves off John Neese. Let's check in with the studio. Kareth Burke has a game break brought to you by Honda. Cardinals starting the night with a 4-game lead on the Pirates in that National League Central. Those 3 teams with the 3 best records in the National League.
Cardinals and Cubs had some weekend, didn't they?
Well, the Cardinals almost got swept and just held on to win yesterday.
Talking about the bean balls and guys taking each other out at second base.
There's no love lost ever.
Yeah, ever.
Between Cub Cardinals. And I guess it's carrying, the tradition's carrying on.
The Pirates are out to a 2-0 lead in the first in Colorado tonight. One and two to Pierzynski. Now, all three of those teams in the Central are going to be in the postseason. But Pirates trying to catch the Cardinals for the division. Cubs trying to catch the Pirates for home field in the wild card game. Dodgers have a magic number of 7 for clinching the West. He's ahead on Pierzynski, 1 and 2. He's high with a fastball. The Mets are a game and a half behind the Dodgers, which matters in the case of a head-to-head matchup, which seems likely in the National League Division Series for home field. Pierzynski fouls it off.
You hear a lot of talk of wanting to get it. You always want to be home field advantage, have the home field advantage. But if you do start in LA, a lot of people have been talking about Kershaw and Greinke under the 5 o'clock shadows, but the Mets pitchers will be pitching in that shadows also.
Precisely. Hey, Syndergaard with his 100 miles an hour in the shadows, that could be ugly for the Dodgers.
Just ugly for the hitters. That's the problem. Tough on the hitters.
Pierzynski flies one out to center. Cespedes is right there. That retires the side. 6 scoreless innings for John Neese. Bounce back start for him. 2-0 Mets. We made some post-game extra, an exclusive online post-game show featuring more reaction from tonight's Mets-Braves game and additional analysis from us in the booth on Mets Blog, presented by Citi, part of the SNY.TV blog network. John Neese, 6 scoreless innings, his best start in ages. But could he be done for the day? 88 pitches and 6 scoreless innings?
Can't be.
Well, Addison Reed is up in the bullpen throwing like he means it. And Terry Collins talking to Neese as though he was explaining. Johnson throws one foul. 1-1.
I don't know why I said it can't be. What a fool.
Well, John is working on 7 days rest, and he's only thrown 88 pitches, and he hasn't pitched this well in a month and a half. Johnson shoots one up the middle for a base hit. So the Mets get the leadoff man on against Shelby Miller in the 6th inning. Miller's thrown 105 pitches already. Season high 112. We'll see how much further they go with him.
Well, we talked about how hot Kelly Johnson's been in September. He and Freddie Freeman, of course, teammates for many years.
Now Michael Conforto, who homered his first time up tonight, is 8th in 135 big league at bats. And flied out to the warning track and left his second time up. That's now with 7 hits against Miller. Conforto takes up and away for ball 1. The Braves have a lefty and a righty up in the bullpen. I'm sure from Freddie Gonzalez's standpoint, if he can get Miller through this half inning, give him a chance to, have his team score for him and get a win, he'd love to do that. I mean, they're not going anywhere anyway. They just love to get him off that incredible schneid of 22 straight starts without a win.
But in competition, I'm surprised that he's facing Conforto. Conforto took him deep, almost took him deep a second time, and now facing him here at the third at bat.
So you're saying maybe from a Braves perspective, not a bad thing he's still in the game. From a Nationals perspective, maybe different.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the competition's concerned, playing the game right.
There's a strike, 2-1. Time for your lows never stop improving. That's with more home runs than they've had in many a season. And a lot of that started when guys like Conforto and Cespedes and Uribe and Johnson joined the team. 2-2 to Michael.
Well, 17 home runs from Cespedes, so you take away those 17 home runs and the Mets are at 145.
Johnson has 5 and Uribe has 6 and Conforto has 8.
So you'll be back in that crowd again, that same number that they've been doing over the last since 2009.
Another fly ball to left field. This one easy for Swisher. And Conforto 3 times in a row going the other way. Flies out for the first out. Now Wilmer Flores. And Kirk Neuenheis out on deck to pinch hit. So it is the end of the line for John Deese. You make any sense of this, Ronnie?
I don't. Like I was saying, I said under my breath, what a fool I am, because this stuff happens all the time now. But, the other side, when they're facing a pitcher who is running them out and making outs and ground ball outs, you're so happy when he leaves the game. You're like, bring on someone else because we can't figure him out.
Well, he's going early to the well. So it makes me think that Clippard's ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's got guys rested. Right?
Well, he had every intention, Terry did last night, of getting to Reed, Clippard, and Familia if Robles had been able to get through that 6th inning. Never got that far. Late swing foul by Flores, and it's 0-2. Nice hop. That was the unexpected bad hop that worked out for that guy. Miller about to throw his 113th pitch, which will match his career high that he set 2 years ago. And Flores hits a slow ground ball, could be 2. Castro to Simmons, and the quick relay in time for the 4-6-3 double play. And that gets Miller through the 6th.
Nice may go out for another inning.
We'll see. Make the spot start for the Mets against rookie Matt Wisler. Our coverage begins at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. Verizon Tuesday Night Baseball on SNY. Well, Addison Reed is on to pitch for the Mets as we go to the 7th.
Well, those are his combined numbers with Arizona. Unscored upon, though, as a Met. 10 outings, 13 Ks. And it's gotten better, it seems, every outing.
Had a terrific outing Friday night against the Yankees. 1-2-3 8th inning with a couple of strikeouts. They'll take on 6, 7, and 8 in the Atlanta batting order in the 7th inning. Swisher, Maben, and Simmons. So Nice goes 6, throws just 88 pitches, no runs, 3 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, lowered his ERA to 4.16. Has a chance for his 9th win, but now will need 3 innings of help from his bullpen. It's going to be fascinating to hear what Terry has to say about this one. I mean, the last night was not all that shocking because we knew in advance that Matt was going to be limited, and Terry even said it during the game, during his in-game interview, that the 5th was going to be his last inning. So while it was a little disheartening because the Mets lost the game, it wasn't surprising. This is kind of shocking, and I can't imagine why.
Yeah, it's his best start he's had in a long time. But you're right. It'll be interesting to hear the call. Is it because these guys haven't had work in a few days? They want him out there?
They can always work tomorrow. I mean, it's only been 3 days since Reed was in the game.
Well, you've got a guy giving you 6 strong innings in a very big game, and to me, it's just lowering the bar. Great job, kid. 6 innings. And Nice did do a terrific job. Had a terrific performance.
Swisher hits one a mile high to shallow right. And Granderson squeezes it one away. Cameron Maben coming up. Let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve.
Gary, Sterling Award winners, as we said earlier in the game. We're here with another one. Dominic Smith, who is the Florida State Player of the Year this year, led the league in doubles as well. Dom, for you, slow first month to the season, and then you really turned it up after that. What was the biggest change in your mind in your play this year?
After starting slow the first month or so, I really just sat down with my hitting coach and coordinator and really just talked about having fun again. So, I mean, once I started having fun and stopped really worrying about numbers or stressing about going in a little slump, everything really turned around for me.
One thing that has been consistent throughout, and everyone always talks about it, is your defense. We got a big-time Gold Glover in the booth, and Keith Hernandez, as Maven grounds this one out. Everyone says you have that potential to be a Gold Glover. How much pride do you take in your defense, and how early of an age did you say to yourself, this is going to be something that I am going to really focus on?
I take a tremendous pride in my defense. I take it seriously just like I do hitting, even sometimes a little bit more. Defense is the one thing that doesn't go in slumps, so that's why I take it so seriously, and I try to just pick up my teammates whenever I can. And since the age of 12, for me, my coaches growing up always preach defense wins championships, so I really took that seriously from that point on, and really just tried to do well.
Well, Dom, that your time is cut short after a quick inning and an unbelievable ending there by Addison Reed. That'll be it. Thanks so much for the time. Mets up 2-0.
Thank you, guys.
Experience 2 jaw-dropping theme parks. Stay on site at Universal's Cabana Bay Beach Resort. Plus, attend the VIP grand opening of Universal's newest dining experience, NBC Sports Grill and Brew. Just go to Facebook.com/SNY for your chance to win. We go to the bottom of the 7th with the Mets up 2-0. The third out, a scary one for Addison Reed.
Well, he got jammed a little bit. That allowed him to get his glove up in time. Now, in real time, it looks a little scarier, but it was very similar to the ball off the end of the bat last night to Matt Harvey that was given an error. It was off the end of the bat. It didn't come as quickly to Matt as he thought. That's why he missed it.
Let's answer our Verizon trivia question for tonight. We asked, against whom did Dwight Gooden hit his only home run of 1985?
Against a pretty good hitting pitcher himself.
Oh, Rick Rhoden. In a 7-run first inning. Doc, in fact, went 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs in that game. Andrew McKirahan, the rookie left-hander.
Well, we were talking about Addison Reed and how hot he's been for the Mets since coming over. McKirahan has been hotter in the bullpen for them. 6 scoreless outings.
McKirahan got suspended for 80 games, missed the first half of the season. He had been a Rule 5 draft pick of the Marlins from the Cubs. Placed on waivers, picked up by the Braves, then got suspended, and now has taken a role in the bullpen the second half of the year. Michael Kadire batting for Addison Reed, leading off the bottom of the 7th. He takes a strike.
So again, Shelby Miller gets nothing while he's out there.
23 consecutive starts now without a win, and he could be 0-15 unless the Braves rally for him. He's not quite in Anthony Young territory yet, but he's gaining on him. Anthony, of course, famously lost 27 in a row as a Met back in the early 90s. Not all as a starter. Some of that was in relief. What I remember about that streak, 2 things. One is that Anthony became a celebrity as a result of the streak. I mean, he was on Letterman. He was on the Tonight Show. He was reveling in it.
I would go hide somewhere.
The other thing is that the game that he broke the streak was against the Marlins, and he gave up a run in the top of the 10th, so he was going to lose his 28th in a row, but then the Mets rallied for 2 in the bottom of the 10th, won the game, and the streak was over.
And do you remember how the reaction on the field was? Or
I think, I got to remember the Mets were a terrible team then.
Yeah.
So I think it was a happy day in an otherwise not so happy year.
On David Letterman, national TV, no thanks.
Kadire toward the middle. Simmons won't get to that. And Kadire's got himself a pinch hit single. Boy, Michael Kadire, for an everyday player, has been remarkably successful as a pinch hitter.
Well, good hitters usually know pinch hitting, Gary, is very much more basic. You're up there and in a pinch run for him too with Eric Young Jr. But when you pinch hit, you're up there getting a fastball, you're coming cold off the bench. You're really hitting like you got 2 strikes on you, and when you're a good hitter, the results usually get there. I didn't mind pinch hitting at all.
So Young, the pinch runner, with the lefty on the mound. Granderson at the plate. Curtis has walked twice and struck out. He scored a run. Curtis now up to 88 walks for the year. He's got a chance to walk 100 times this season, which only one Met in history has ever done. And that was John Olerud, who walked 125 times in 1999. Daniel Murphy on deck.
Mets need some insurance runs. They left a bucket full in that first inning on the base running gaff by Daniel Murphy.
By the way, Keith, I don't know if you know this, but you're tied for second on the Mets single season walk list.
90 what?
97. You and
what year was that? 84.
Strawberry.
84, 85.
Let's see. 84. Yeah.
Yeah, 84. They didn't want to pitch to me because Darryl was a rookie, young, and he was hitting behind me. So a lot of times they pitched around me.
See if Granderson's swinging 3-0 against the lefty. Takes a tough pitch, 3-1.
Joey Votto.
Yeah, he's had an amazing second half. We'll see him next week, or actually this week. Granderson strokes one to left center for a base hit. Young around second, bobbled by Maben. Young will make it to third, and Granderson into second. A hard hit base hit for Curtis Granderson, and Maben had trouble with it over in left center.
Nice hitting, Curtis. Ball in the outer half of the plate, going right with it. Young got a bit of a late read, but he can get away with it because of his speed. Watch, there's no way anybody's going to catch this ball. I don't know why the hesitation. But he got there anyway, and the bobble allows Curtis to advance. And when Curtis always hustles.
It'll be a single, an error on Maben. Second and third, nobody out. Murphy 1 for 3 tonight. Braves bring the infield only halfway in. Already down 2-0 in the 7th. Murphy strokes one down the right field line. That's a fair ball going into the corner. 2 runs will score. Young and Granderson are home. It's a 2-run double for Daniel Murphy. And the Mets double up their lead. It's 4-0 New York.
Well, the Brave bullpen showing its ugly face again. Murph, pretty good slider. Goes down and gets it. Makes up for the base running gap right there. Redeemer.
He can drive you crazy sometimes in the field and on the bases, but man, can he hit.
He can rake.
That'll be all for McKirahan, who gave up 3 straight hits. That's beating up on the Braves bullpen as they did in Atlanta. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. 4-0 Mets in the 7th. Rained out tonight. They'll play it on Thursday, which had been an off day for them. Reds lead the Cardinals in the 4th. David Price doing his thing. He's been unbelievable since going to Toronto. Jay's got him 3 in the 1st, and he's run with that. Brandon Caniff in for the Braves.
Oh, he's in. You see his numbers against right-handed hitters. That's why he's in to face Cespedes. 133.
Cespedes 3 for 3 tonight, a single and 2 doubles, and the last one was an absolute seed off the left field fence. So he's had 4 straight hits now, going back to his double last night, emphatically snapping out of an 0 for 19 stretch. 3 straight hits against McKirahan produced 2 runs, still nobody out in the inning. Lucas Duda on deck. Looks like Kniff is in to face him as well, with nobody up in the Braves bullpen. And quickly 0-2 to Cespedes.
2 good pitches there by Kniff, right on the corner.
Granderson, Murphy, and Cespedes, top 3 in the Mets order, 6 for 9 with a couple of walks tonight. It's a good formula for success.
No.
One-two coming. Cespedes fouls it off. Well, the Mets have made a living out of beating up on their own division. They've done well against the West as well, but the Central, which has the 3 best teams in the league, has given them fits, particularly the Cubs and Pirates, both of whom swept the season series from the Mets. Mets will get their last crack at the Central this week when they go to Cincinnati for 4. Simmons in front of the ground ball, and the throw gets Cespedes for the first down as Murphy holds at second. Well, the Braves just swept a 3-game series from the Phillies. Since August 17th, they're 5-1 against the Phillies, but well, the rest of the time it's been a kind of a miserable late season for Freddie Gonzalez and his Braves.
That is coming to the ballpark day in, day out and losing. That's not fun for him.
Here's Duda, who's 0 for 2 in a walk. And are they going to intentionally walk him again? They are. So they'll bring up Darno with 2 men on. Second straight intentional walk for Duda. Worked for the Braves the first time as they saw Shelby Miller strike Darno out. That was in the 5th. Tyler Clippard getting ready for the 8th inning. He's been off for a few days. He had some back issues. He was available last night. And Terry will get him into the game in the 8th inning tonight. See the game Jeff Samardzija pitched this afternoon? I know it's a meaningless game.
Still.
1 hit shutout, 88 pitches against the Tigers.
I wonder how long the game was. Maybe it beat the 2-hour mark.
City probables for the remainder of this series. Logan Perret gets the spot start for Jacob deGrom tomorrow night against fellow rookie Matt Wisler. And then Bartolo Colon goes for his 15th win against Williams Perez on Wednesday night. deGrom is not going to miss a full turn. Terry Collins said tonight he will pitch in the series in Cincinnati. He said that Matt Harvey will pitch in that series as well. Been a real struggle for Darno these last few days. 0 for 3 tonight, 0 for his last 16.
Cubs and Pirates are up early in their games. Cardinals are losing 1-0 early in theirs.
One to Darno. And the Cardinals, who lost Yadier Molina during the postseason last year to an oblique injury, might have to play without him down the stretch of this season. Partially torn ligament in his left thumb, and you wonder what kind of impact that'll have this time.
So that's going to be his glove hand too.
Yeah.
Not good.
Well, that's how he hurt him, making the tag at home plate after that great Hayward throw in yesterday's game. I don't know if you can quantify what Molina brings to that team. Two to Darno. other hand, Adam Wainwright is working out, throwing off a mound, and quite remarkably hopes to come back to pitch for the Cardinals.
Reminds me of the year that Chris Carpenter, who had a bad arm, was trying to come back for the post. I mean, they're in the postseason every year.
They clinched a postseason berth yesterday, first team to do it. 12 times now in 16 years the Cardinals will be in the postseason. 12 out of 16. That's incredible, even with an expanded postseason. It's not quite the Braves winning 14 straight division titles, but it's not bad. I figure if Marcus Stroman can come back from a serious knee injury, maybe Wainwright can come back from an Achilles.
Achilles is tough. But
oh boy.
But so is Wainwright. He's tough.
Murphy at second, Duda at first with one out. Mets have 2 runs home here in the 7th. 2-2 from Kniff. In there, strike 3 called. So Darno strikes out for the 2nd straight at bat. 2 out in the inning.
Right there, he got caught looking for a breaking ball.
Well, Krasinski asked for that ball up about letters high. He got it right on the knee.
So now Kelly Johnson with 2 out and 2 on. Kelly had a base hit to center field his last time up, 1 for 3 on the night as his fine month of September continues. Playing second base today. Didn't get any late word on Juan Uribe, who went for an MRI earlier today on his bruised chest. X-rays came up negative last night, but they wanted to make sure nothing else was going on. That's a broken back toward the middle, and over comes Castro to snag it to end the inning. So Johnson is retired, but the Mets cash a couple in the 7th. Daniel Murphy with a couple of men on. First pitch swinging. Drives home a pair with a double. And the Mets lead 4-0 as we go to the 8th at Citi Field. Win for the former Met. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Bed Gear, performance bedding of the New York Mets. Get heat and moisture wicking pillows and sheets for more recovery out of the time you spend in bed. Bedgear.com. Sleep fuels everything. Ruben Tejada takes over at shortstop as we go to the 8th inning, and Tyler Clippard, back from a couple of days on the shelf, back in the 8th inning.
Well, you mentioned that he was suffering from a bad back, took a couple of days off, but before that he'd given up 4 home runs in his last 6 2/3 innings pitched. So important inning for Clippard here.
Facing the pinch hitter Pedro Siriaco, leading off in the top of the 8th. And he chases one out of the strike zone. 0-2. Siriaco, then Michael Bourne and Daniel Castro. After the Braves went down 1-2-3 before Addison Reed in a 7-pitch 7th inning. Clippard's 0-2, and Siriaco lines one into right center for a base hit. So Siriaco getting on an 0-2 fastball, and he has the Braves' 4th hit of the night.
Saw a lot of this in the Yankee series, didn't we? A lot of 0-2 hits. Another one here. Too good of a pitch by Clippard.
A ball up in the strike zone, out over the plate. Nice hitting by Siriaco.
Now Michael Bourne is 1 for 3 tonight. Singled back in the 3rd against John Neese, who went 6 scoreless innings tonight. In the air to right, and Granderson is there. 1 out.
See Clippard blowing in his hand. It's just starting to get a little cooler, right, guys?
This is the 2nd to last night of summer. Autumn arrives on Wednesday.
Woke up this morning, went out to get the paper, and put the robe on, the winter robe.
Put the robe on.
Did you have the slippers on too?
With the winter slippers, I had to broke them out.
Here's Castro with 1 out and 1 on, 0 for 3 tonight. Clippard gets it in for a strike. Castro robbed of a hit his last time up on a diving stop by Duda.
Mm.
1-1. Med relief pitchers allowed 11 runs last night. And that one skips off d'Arnaud and goes to the backstop. And Siriaco takes 2nd.
And that'll be a wild pitch. You know, part of Clippard's success is his motion. He's very herky-jerky, and looks like he's going to throw through a brick wall, and he has that great changeup. Got a rush motion, doesn't he, Ron?
Yeah, well, he gets that arm speed from that rush motion. So you see a lot of legs, a lot of arms, but that change up there was right in the middle of the plate.
So given a delivery like that, Keith, how do you best deal with that?
The best thing to do when you have a delivery from anybody, no matter what it is, if you've got a pitcher out there that you have a hard time getting a rhythm on and picking up, you've really got to wait to the last minute, Gary, and really focus on seeing the ball out of the pitcher's hand. And even if you might have to wait just a nanosecond longer than you normally would if you had a good rhythm on a pitcher with a very, very smooth motion, very rhythmic motion, because then you can be rhythmic with him. The guys with the herky-jerky, you really got to stay set and ready. And those kind of guys, you just want to just go see the ball and go up the middle, hit it where it's pitched.
Nanosecond, that's very contemporary.
Yes, it is.
2-2 coming. Reached for and foul.
He learned that reading the paper in his robe this morning.
That's right. In the styles section.
Jerry's familiar getting up in the 8th inning. Jerry's not going to let this game get away. Clipper doesn't have himself a quick time of it here in the 8th.
So Clippard's rush motion, a lot of guys that had that rush motion when they were going to throw it through a brick wall. And that was part of their deception.
Castro goes down on the high fastball, and Clippard has his first strikeout, 2 down.
Well, when you have young hitters up at the plate, no need to throw a ball for a strike when you get ahead. Out of the strike zone, they'll chase.
So 2 out. Siriaco still at second, and now Freddie Freeman, who's gone 0 for 3 tonight. Still the one guy in this lineup who scares you the most.
Yeah.
Freeman 5 for 15 against Clippard with a home run. Whoa! Just a little high. Second wild pitch of the inning for Clippard moves Siriaco over to third.
Well, here's the delivery. He can look at his glove hand comes up, big shoulder lift, turns his back almost to you, and then here comes the ball. It's hard to pick up.
See that glove? I mean, he really cast that high into the sky before delivering the baseball.
It's almost like he's catapulting himself to home plate.
Or throwing a javelin.
It's just really got that high shoulder lift too, that glove up there, and then his arm, here comes the arm. So it's got to just focus on the point of release. That's why he's been effective.
And a good changeup gets him even on Freeman 1-1.
Hey, brother. Cut that guy off over there.
He had a lot of fans tonight.
1-1 coming. And Clippard with the fastball gets ahead on Freeman, 1-2.
Well, Freddie Freeman's missed a lot of season this year. Not the numbers, 16 home runs, 59 RBI.
Wrist injury, oblique injury. Siriaco at third and 2 out. One-two. Struck him out. Time of Clippard fans Freddie Freeman. So Clippard works around the leadoff hit in the 8th. That's bullpen with a couple of scoreless innings behind John Neese, and it's 4-0 New York going to the bottom of the 8th. Yankees against the Atlanta Braves. To purchase tickets, go to Mets.com/tickets. Mets box score presented by Skechers. Joanna Cespedes with 3 hits, including a pair of doubles. Michael Conforto with his 8th home run of the year. And the Mets have had plenty with 8 scoreless innings from John Neese and company. And now Daniel Winkler takes the mound for the Braves, making his major league debut.
Well, his debut all season. He drafted by the Colorado Rockies, acquired in the Rule 5 draft, as you see there, by the Atlanta Braves. And Tommy John surgery.
Has not pitched at all this year, was just activated from the 60-day disabled list. And Michael Conforto will lead off for the Mets. Conforto 1 for 3 tonight.
Sorry, Gary, what were you saying? 60th player for the Braves?
Which obliterated their old franchise record. Their old record was 50 players they used in 2007. They've now used 60 this year, including, what is it, 36 pitchers?
Yeah.
I guess, is he the 37th pitcher? That's just craziness.
Oh, got him in the knee.
First pitch in the big leagues, and he takes out the home plate umpire.
Oh, that hurts.
A.J. Brzezinski just missed it. Caught him right in the right knee.
Come on, A.J. Box it and send me a dozen. You're hurting me. Oh, right off the knee.
Completely missed it.
Yeah, that is on the knee, and that hurts.
Wow. Can you imagine that? You're making your big league debut. The first pitch you throw in the major leagues.
Look at it, dented. The shin guard of the umpire. He's trying to take the dent out.
He's going to shake it off, or try to.
That hurts.
He's tough as nails,
Yes,
Culbreth. He says to Ray, I'm all right.
You can go over to Smith and Walensky's after the game and get a little toddy and a little ribeye.
That will make the knee feel better?
Yes.
Winkler's probably thinking to himself, well, now I've gotten the home plate umpire angry at me.
Or I have some nasty stuff. The catcher can't even catch it.
Culbreth will soldier on. 1-0 the count to Conforto. And Winkler's second pitch in the major leagues. Who knows what might happen? It's merely a fastball for a strike, 1-1. Dan Winkler out of the University of Central Florida. '20th round draft pick by the Rockies in 2011. Ruben Tejada on deck. Getting ready for his first at bat in the 8th hole in the batting order.
They like to throw Conforto the backdoor slide balls, the right-handers, when they're behind the count.
And he gets him with a high fastball, so Winkler's first batter in the big leagues, an eventful one, and he gets a strikeout.
Only got Conforto to chase, and Conforto, a very disciplined hitter, goes after a high one.
So now Ruben Tejada for the first time. Ruben came on for defense in the top of the inning. Tejada got the start in the leadoff spot last night for the Mets, which was a bit of a surprise in that he had only led off once all season before last night.
He started the game with a double on an 0-2 count of CC.
And scored the Mets' first run on a double by David Wright. Went 1 for 3 in the game last night. Actually hit a shot the second time up that Sabathia was able to knock down. Kirk Neuenhuis out on deck to bat for Clippard. Tejada lofts one foul, and it's 0-2. Pirates have built a 4-0 lead on the Rockies. That game's in the 4th inning in Denver. While the Cardinals are still down 1-0 in the 6th. Pittsburgh 4 games behind St. Louis. Cubs are up 4-2 on Milwaukee in the 5th. When they're not playing each other, it only seems like all 3 of those teams win every day.
It's a very sharply contested division.
You can have 3 teams win well over 90 games. 2-2.
It's another division, though, where a couple of teams in that division are really struggling. Milwaukee and Cincinnati.
The Cubs have really played well on the road, too. 42-33. Away from the friendly confines of Wrigley.
Full count to Tejada. And ball 4. So Tejada gets aboard with a 1-out walk. 6 walks given up tonight by Atlanta pitching.
Well, Atlanta's pitching staff is next to last for most walks in the National League, and we're seeing it tonight.
2nd most walks, 4th fewest strikeouts, 3rd most hits. That's a bad combination.
It's not good. It's very ugly.
Danny Barawa is up in the bullpen for the Braves. St. John's product. There's Neuenhuis pinch hitting. Played late but never batted in last night's game. Hasn't had an at bat in 6 days. They talk all the time about how hard it is to pinch hit. It's hard enough if you're doing it every day, but when you get 1 at bat a week.
A lot of extra BP coming to the park early, which all these guys do now anyway. Sometimes I wonder if they bring their sleeping bags and just spend the night.
But how do you recreate the feeling of hitting major league pitching when you're getting 1 at bat a week?
You can't, Gary. It's always been a job for the veteran, and that's one of the parts of the game that's changed. I think a lot because of salaries and a lot of your stars are getting paid a lot of money, therefore your bench suffers. The Mets, with the moves they made, really have a bench like the old days with Kelly Johnson, Uribe, veteran guys that call off the bench. Kadire.
Two to Neuenhuis.
Called him Dan Winkler. Danny Winkler on his glove.
We have him as Dan, Danny, and Daniel. Got all the bases covered. Neuenhuis out on strikes, so that high fastball has served its purpose for Winkler. He's gotten a couple of strikeouts with it tonight. Coming up tonight after the postgame, it's Chris Carlin on Geico Sports Night. How many games left? I believe it's 12 after tonight, Chris.
It's the first time Origami's made the sweep.
12, Chris. 12 games left.
Well, the Mets have the left-hand hitters coming up, and so Freddie Gonzalez will make another pitching change. Dan Winkler gets his first 2 outs in the big leagues. 4-0 Mets. Will be right back. And he's bringing another right-hander. What's the point of that? Had to get Barawa some work.
James wanted him to throw.
Danny Barawa in to pitch for the Braves.
Well, he made his debut with the New York Yankees this year and then claimed off waivers from the Yankees by the Braves. Went to Gwinnett and then called up.
So coming to face Curtis Granderson with 2 out and a runner at first. Curtis has been on base 3 more times tonight. 2 walks and a single. He scored 2 runs. He's now scored 90 runs this year. What a year Granderson's having.
Terry Collins addressed it, didn't he? Most people have talked about Cespedes since he came over. One of the guys in the presser mentioned that Travis d'Arnaud should get MVP votes. I don't know where that came from. But then Terry addressed that Curtis Granderson has been steady Eddie the whole year.
He's played virtually every day. He's scored 90 runs. He's approaching 90 walks. His on-base percentage is .367. He's hit 23 home runs, 30 doubles. He has been the consummate top of the order hitter with power.
He's been real good, but I know he hasn't hit lefties well. But in clutch situations, late in ball games where you need a base runner, he really has worked the count, and he's drawn a lot of walks, clutch walks, late in ball games.
And when Cespedes was red hot, it seemed like every time he hit a home run, he got a high five from Granderson at the plate. In fact, I think Cespedes said to Kevin Long, he said, "Boy, that guy Granderson, I like him hitting in front of me."
2-2 to Curtis. Flies one down the line. That should make it into the seats. Danny Barawa, his 7th appearance for the Braves after just the 1 appearance as a Yankee. Back and pitching in his hometown again. 2-2. And he strikes out Granderson with a slider to end the inning. We go to the 9th at Citi Field. Jeurys Familia will come in and try and complete the shutout. 4-0 New York. John Neese did the work for the first 6. Addison Reed and Tyler Clippard took it from there. Let's make their usual outfield late inning switch. Cespedes in left, Lagares in center, and Jerry's Familia will try and close it out.
Well, he pitched on Friday night, but it was not a clean inning against the Yankees. Gave up a couple of hits, one off his knee that caromed about as far as I've ever seen a ball carom off a pitcher, and he did not leave the game.
Jacoby Ellsbury, who hit him just below the kneecap, but he stayed in and finished out the game. Adonis Garcia leads off in the 9th for the Braves, who've already been shut out 15 times this year. Garcia 1 for 2 and a walk tonight, and he takes the slider for a strike. Pierzynski and Swisher to follow. Non-save situation for Familia, who's only 2 saves shy of a Mets club record with 41 for the year. And back-to-back sliders to get ahead on Garcia, and that's interesting. It's a pitch we haven't seen that much lately.
Well, since he's got the split finger, you've seen more of that with that sinking fastball. But against the right-hander, maybe you're going to see more sliders and sinkers, and the left-handed hitters might see that. Ooh.
Quick pitch up and in at 96 miles an hour surprised Garcia. One-two coming. Grounded out to Tejada. 1 out. Well, this is what remains for the Mets. 2 more with the Braves, then 4 in Cincinnati, 3 in Philadelphia, and then the final 3 games of the season home against the Nationals.
And Ronnie and I were doing some math. Braves, Reds, and Phillies. They 90 plus games under 500 or something like that combined.
Well,
take advantage of it.
Braves have lost 90. The Reds have lost 85. The Phillies have lost 94. Phillies will be hard pressed to avoid a 100-loss season. Here's A.J. Pierzynski, 1 for 3 tonight. Remember the Mets' last 100-loss season, 1993. They lost 103 games and won their last 6. What could have been worse? What I also remember about the end of that season, the last game of the year in Miami, sitting on 103 losses, 9th inning, rain delay.
Oh, of course.
Got to watch Browning Nagel lead the Jets over the Eagles that day during the rain delay.
Browning Nagel. Wow.
I'll tell you how long ago it was. Pierzynski hits it sharply. He's got a base hit. Lagares over to play it. Lagares picking that ball up casually. That cost him an error in the game last night against the Yankees.
High sinker.
So 1 out and 1 on. Now Nick Swisher. Swisher's 0 for 3 tonight. Duda playing behind Pierzynski at first with a left-hand hitter up, and the Mets carrying a 4-0 lead.
Maybe the 2 biggest outs that Jonathan Neese got this evening. Put the first 2 on, Garcia and Pierzynski, and then got the double play of Swisher.
Well, the comebacker in the 4th inning. Neese was terrific. Best we've seen him in a long time.
Big game.
6 scoreless innings.
Big clutch game.
The only question that will come after Neese's performance tonight is why only 6 innings and 88 pitches?
Why'd they lift him?
Reed got a 1-2-3 7th. Clippard worked around a leadoff hit in the 8th. Now Familia trying to put up 2 more outs. Ball to the right side. Johnson will go to first. He thought about second, figured, let's get the sure out.
Veteran move.
Wise.
What was it? Probably too slowly to turn 2 anyway.
And Brzezinski running way out of the line. You got a 4-run lead. Get the sure out.
Baseball acumen showed by Kelly Johnson.
So the Braves are down to their final out. Now Cameron Maben, who's been up 3 times, grounded out all 3. Brzezinski at second and 2 out. Takes a knee-high strike with a slider. Anderson Simmons would be next. They're trying to keep it from getting that far. Oh, and 1 to Maben. A little high. 1-1. Terry Collins told his team last night when they were a little morose after the game.
Yes.
We concentrate on tomorrow. Turn on the music.
Yes, no more.
Maben gets tied in a knot, and that's 1 and 2. And Familia 1 strike away from more music.
That was a nasty runner.
One, 2. This is the splitter. 2 and 2. Two and 2 to Maben. He struck him out, and the ball game is over. Jeurys Familia puts on the finishing touches to the Mets' 13th shutout victory of the season. John Neese with a terrific bounce-back effort. Michael Conforto with a home run, and the Mets win it 4-0 to reduce their magic number to 7.
Well, the first inning, the Mets had a big opportunity to blow the game open, only came away with 1 run, and usually those things come back and bite you. But thanks to John Neese with a brilliant 6-inning shutout performance to keep the Braves in check. Conforto, of course, with his 8th home run. And then the Mets tagged on 2 runs in the 7th with the 2 RBI double by Daniel Murphy. And guess what? It's now 7.5 with 12 to play.
6.5.
6.5 with 12 to play. So all good in Metland.
The first scoreless start for Jonathan Neese since July 19th, and Reed, Clippard, and Familia finished this game up.
And poor Shelby Miller, his 23rd straight start without a win. 0-15 during that stretch. Mets magic number down to 7 with the Nats getting rained out tonight. Mets back to 20 games over 500. For every Mets win, the Mets Foundation is proud to contribute $2,500 to the Cats Women's Hospital and the Cats Institute for Women's Health. For more information, visit northshorelij.com/KIWH. This win brings the total contribution so far this season to $212,500. Familia finishes with a flourish, striking out Maben and Andon. Mets, who have dropped back-to-back series to the Marlins and Yankees, get this series off to a good start with a shutout victory. as they beat the Braves 4-0. Back with more from Citi Field in just a moment.